Thiel's investments span past to the cloud. His founders fund recently led a $75 million round of funding in private tier. This is a PE firm developing businesses around recreational marijuana use. I spoke with one of the key players behind the investment.
Many of the entrepreneurs in this space have a gold rush type mentality. When we first started looking at this company, there was no legalization in Colorado, and this company has a 10-plus year vision for how to scale up in this space, much like a company like SpaceX.
In total, investors have spent more than $100 million on cannabis-related projects in the last 2 years alone. Giadha Carcer is with me now. She is the CEO of New Frontier Financials, collects and analyzes big data related to the cannabis industry. Giadha, glad to have you with us. You have essentially started an analytical platform, and I know you're hoping to shape future investments in cannabis. What are you seeing so far?
Thank you for having me, Deidre. Absolutely. What we're trying to do is to educate and bring more visibility and transparency to an industry that, as you've mentioned, is booming. The data is out there. There isn't a lot of standardization or understanding of what the data means. And what we're trying to do, and we are doing, is raising the bar, collecting the data, and making sure that we can report it accordingly.
So that is to say, when investors do want to put money on the line, you actually have relevant data points. So what is one of the most useful that you've heard from your users?
We have 4 groups of users, and one of them, of course, the most important one and the one that really eminently needs the data is the investor group and the financial institutions group. They are trying to size the opportunity in this industry. They're trying to get a little more visibility in terms of what the return on their investment is going to be. Should they go? What stage should be investing in? What vertical should they be investing in? And right now, while we may have some high-level revenue numbers, we don't really have a lot of in-depth understanding about what is truly happening below the surface.
So we just showed a map, Giadha, which shows the states that have approved medical marijuana use, and there's 23. We know 2 states, Washington State and Colorado, just as of this year, approved recreational use. And it is hotly debated right now in D.C., where you're based. How are you shaping policy, or are you saying that's not our role, we're just providing information, and then if people who want to shape policy use our information, they have that choice?
We are absolutely agnostic. What we are trying to do is to answer some of the hard questions so that policymakers, academics, investors, and operators can make better informed decisions. We know that, for instance, in Colorado, the total revenue last year was about $670 million. 370 or so of those were stemming from medical, while the other 300 from recreational. Why is that? How is that going to move forward in subsequent years? How is Washington State going to be generating revenue and seeing progress on the medical versus recreational side? Those are the types of questions that we want to address with solid, quantifiable data and inform.
So, Giadha, I know your background is in defense and technology, telecom as well. Which has been a harder field to work in, defense or creating this kind of platform with information about cannabis?
That's a really good question. Well, it has been a very interesting journey. I don't know if I would say harder or not. It certainly has been, it has called for a lot more of outside of the box thinking and sort of rolling with the punches. But
so
a very fun ride nonetheless. Yes.
All right, Giadha, thank you very much for the time. Glad to have you with us. Giadha Carcer joining us there.